when you create, let's say, a model, or a program, could be a game, you'd focus on the purpose. Now the purpose for us would be a form of, let's say, could be something to do, to occupy, or some kind of entertainment, or to learn from, or and so on. Now when you create a, let's say, a program, you think about what it's going to be for and used for. Now in this program, let's say the creation of the Earth, the solar system. Now the solar system it works all together. And the source of the solar system is the energy, the force, and that source can only mean one thing: that God has the source, the power that generates that solar system, the world. Now if we think about a program, it needs to have a source. It needs to have. Now in this program or game or whatever you're creating, it's got to have this tool in order to make it with, let's say, computers and devices. Now, in order to create a program, you'd have to create the means of having this program, which would be the device used, the computer used. Now the program or game that you're creating is going to need instructions, a manual of how to play this game or use this program. And if that instruction and manual is not fully understood by the users and the characters that use this program you're making, then there has to be a workforce that can explain this game or this program that you've created in order for everyone to understand and be able to use this without making the mistakes. Now that's the same with this creation of the universe and the world we're in today. Because the world we're in today is created by God. It has to be the energy, that the force that creates this movement, this vibration, this light, this way of life that exists. It cannot be explained. Now you can try and explain what each thing is, but you're not gonna know how each things move, how they do what they specifically do, or how your mind comes up with an idea. How this process takes place is unknown. How the energy in your body, which is consumed with the food that you intake, that produces this energy that generates in your cells in order for your hand to move. It cannot be explained. Or cannot be seen exactly what's taking place, far from what it is and what each little cell is. Now God also has created this world and has said that there shall be representatives in all eras in order to help and assist and guide the people of the world in order for them to succeed and understand the reasons they are here in this world, this program. Now, in order for us to make this program clear, we would need instructions. Now, the instructions are here. We have the history. We have the scriptures. We have the past stories passed down to us by each member of family, and their family, and their family, and their family. Because what's important has always been passed down. What's essential, what the experiences that have taken place by your ancestors has always been passed down. And now we have what's important to us, and all means of understanding and guidance and learning for a human being to understand the reasons why a human being is here. Now, when you have a program, you'd have to, for those that do not understand the program, would need some further assistance if they don't understand the instructions clearly and not able to fully use the program. Now, in that case, you would have to have a person to teach the users of this program. And God has always had representatives in the world. And in each era, so we think about the reasons why we are created. Would have to go to what takes place in this world and what we do in this world. Well, what happens is a daily way of life, of survival. But we also have things that we do as human beings. Now, apart from these essential things that we need to survive, like air to breathe, water, food, other people, and a way of life, we also do things. Now, you either do something good or you do something bad. So we would understand that a human being, that is what it does. That is what it produces in this world. Now we have to also know what else is in this world. Whether it's insects, animals, and fish, birds, and so on. And also we have the other creatures like the spirits, which are not defined and seen by everybody or experienced by everybody, but it does exist. Now, if something exists and it's only known by a certain few people, then we would know that it's not something that's meant to be for everybody. So that would mean that this spirit is not a good thing, because if it was a good thing, then everybody would be involved in it. It's a bad thing. That's why there's only a certain amount of people. It's like a secret. Something that's not meant to be known by everybody else, but only a certain amount of people. Now that's not a good thing. And if something's not a good thing, then it's a bad thing. Can't have something in between it that wouldn't make sense. Then it's a pointless thing. It's either a good thing or a bad thing. Now we have all these different religions, and they all bring out the same point, which is what to do, what not to do, and the Creator, God, and the representatives which were there to help at the different times. So we think about the reasons for each and every person, and we see that it should be equal fairness and justice, which does not exist in today's world. There is no equality, justice, or fairness. So we would understand that this place is not correct. This form of understanding is not correct. If there's no equality, there's no fairness. If there's no, then we would know that this place is not correct. So what is going on is not correct. It's not a good thing. As simple as that. No matter where you are, if there's no fairness, equality, and justice, then it's not correct, and it's not a good thing. So if it's not a good thing, then it's a bad thing. Now religions are all the guides. It's like when we go back to this program that you're creating, you've got to have the instructions for the users to be able to use. And you also have to have some kind of help desk or a phone number or somebody that can assist if they cannot fully understand or make the best use of this program. Now we're going to think, why does there need to be a program or even us being here or being created in the first place? Well, the need is not for us to say or to think about. God created us and gave us this opportunity to be here. And if we think about the source to existence, that energy, that force, it keeps everything together, keeps the world from spinning and the moon from spinning around the world, and the moon from spinning around the world. And for this rotational system, with the planets going around the sun and everything in order, this force that keeps it in order. Like when a rocket shoot up in space, the gravity, the force of gravity is pulling it down, but it goes up to as far as it can, and then when it reaches the last point, it goes round, like the moon goes round the earth when it runs out of fuel and when there reaches the point of no oxygen and no force that keeps it from going the way it is. Then we've realized there's another force that keeps it going around the earth. So the satellites go around the earth, the moon goes around the earth. So there's no further movement. There's a force at play that keeps this situation from happening. So no one can get to the moon or even leave the earth, leave the earth's orbit. Now that energy, that force that does that must relate to God. So the reason for us to be here is up to God, is created by God. And the way the energy or the thought process that goes into our minds makes us think in a way is down to God. And that program we create, the energy source for that program to work, is down to God. Without that energy source, there won't be a means of using that tool, that equipment, to create that program. And for that program to work and be used by the users. So that's down to God as well. So there's no reason for us to know the reason why we're here. But for those that seek and justify and want to know, then those are religious people, and those are people who put time and effort into understanding. And religion is that instruction, is that guidance. And once they can't use that instruction, that manual, that guidance, they require assistance. And that's when God has their representatives sent down to earth to assist. Or when that program is being destroyed, or has a virus and is being destroyed, then it's going to require that assistance to sort that problem out. The creator of that program to sort it out. It's the same with the earth. When the earth has a major problem and it's being destroyed, it's going to require the creator to get involved and to sort out the earth. Now, the way that our mind works requires the need of that energy and that source, and ideas that come into your mind, and thought processes, and that energy that creates these thoughts and vibrations requires a certain energy, a certain or those vibrations of sound that is picked up by your ear, and those invisible vibrations that go into your ear and are picked up by what's inside, and the energy that goes into your brain and makes sense of that is down to God. Now in this game or this program, you've set some rules. Or some tasks that you want the users to do in order for it to work. Now that's the same with this world. God has set instructions. And it's left for people to experience, learn, and use. Now a human being does good things, does bad things. And also does the things that he needs, the requirements, in order to survive. Now if we think about the whole way the human works, now if a human being that does a lot of good things that benefits other people would also be known by a lot of people and appreciated and respected, and that gives that human being confidence. That gives that human being self-respect, confidence, motivation to carry on and escalate and be popular in the communities and be an asset to the community. Now if that person does a lot of bad things, it's not liked, it carries on, it becomes hated, and that human being itself would start forming his own issues and being aggressive and not functional and distressed all the time, and goes down and down and down till all of these problems creates more problems and more problems, and he's not in a good mood, he's not in the right state. And he stops, it causes him from stop looking after his own body and health, getting worse issues and worse issues, makes him go crazy and starts killing people and harming other individuals. And stopping others from benefiting in the community. It's like it creates a change in people. Now, if human beings are to be human, they have to. A human is a creature that cares and is thoughtful and works with his community, does things for others, and understands each other. That's what makes us a human being and different from animals. Because the animals, they don't do things for each other. Animals are creature does things for itself and its own kind, its own family, and nothing else, not for any other animal. Does not help, does not care, does not help another animal in need in order for that animal, maybe a sick animal or something desperate for help. It does not care. It only cares about itself and its children. And based on its instincts to survive. That's all the procedures that it does. But it does not sin either. It only does the instincts of an animal. It doesn't care about any of that. Now, if a human being starts doing the wrong things, gradually being disliked by other human beings, and starting to dislike itself, and not looking after itself properly, goes down and low self-esteem, low confidence, and starts becoming this character. If it does something bad too much, it becomes normal to you, and you'll do it often. And when you stop looking after yourself and start disintegrating, then you will start changing as a person. And sinning. At the beginning, you only care about yourself and what you have, and you lose interest in anybody else, or even have the mindset to think about that. When you're hated and you hate yourself and become sick, you have no thoughts about anything else apart from yourself. And when you sin too much, it's normal. So you change. You become an animal. You just think about yourself, and everything becomes normal. But the difference is you sin, so you're worse than an animal. You don't have any responsibilities like animals do, to feed your kids and so on, to work, and start losing all of that and going down below animals. But there's a lot of people in the world that are below animals, much worse than animals. Because an animal has responsibilities based on its instincts to do what it has to do. But now when you think about the human being, you see there is a lot of human beings that have no responsibilities, and all they do is things for themselves, care about themselves. Most of these human beings are rich and have others working for them, doing all of their responsibilities. They don't work, they just spend money, eat, sleep, and think about themselves. And sin makes them worse than animals. So they're like this living organism that's just feeding on everything, telling everything what to do, taking everything and not sharing it with anybody, and creating problems for everything else around it. Because everything is normal. All the sins have become normal. Everything becomes normal when you do it too much. Now the first time you make a mistake, that mistake makes you regret why you did that. And you repent or apologize to the person. But if you happen to do it again and again, then you won't feel that regret, that conscience rebelling and saying you've done something wrong. And it becomes normal to you. Until everything becomes normal to you and you lose that human being that you were. And you change and you go down and down and down until you're some living organism that everything becomes normal. Everything becomes a joke. And you have no care about anything. It's like an addict. First starts enjoying something, then it becomes hooked, then it keeps on suffering and then trying to get it, and desperate and desperate and desperate until it's completely destroyed. And it can't go back, and it can't fix this problem. Medically, the doctors can help it in a certain way by maybe giving it what it needs. So it gets all these drugs and stuff just to keep it, but it's not helped the problem. It's just eased the suffering, and that's all it's done. Now, in order for a human being to experience, when there is no assistance medically, when there's no results medically, when you can see what you can become, or maybe you've changed so much and there is no other answer to the problems, maybe there is another answer. The source, the energy. Maybe there is no scientific way of explaining anything anymore. Nothing medically, nothing. No way of helping that being, that creature that it is. And the last source is the essence, the beginning. The energy, that force, that and that's God. Maybe that's the answer. And the only way to find that out is by experiencing something, by taking the effort and time and the ways produced by the instructions in order to understand, and for that energy to create that energy that goes into your mind for you to think, that energy, that idea that is created into your mind, that invisible source, that invisible way, the idea, the image that you can't see. but the energy that produces that image, that idea that goes into your mind and think, gives you understanding. That source of because we all are created with a mind to think and make our own decisions, to be an individual, to be that individual that does not work in a group, works by itself. He has his own mindset, he has his own ideas, his own way of thinking, free to make his own decisions and to do what it wants to do, because we are an individual. We're not created in a group. We are one person. We're not the same as anybody else. And nothing is forced on individuals. It's up to the individual to decide, make his own judgments and research and findings and the thought processes and the energy that comes and creates this idea that goes into your head. And that invisible way of connection between what happens in your brain and the energy that's produced, with the image that's created, and thoughts and ideas and understandings. Now we are all different. We're all unique, original, and individuals. And all free. So if we're this individual with all our own mindsets, and all different, and all have our own ideas and all our own way of being, and we realize that the society we're in is the opposite. There is only one way of being, one thing that you must do, which is all told on you, which is all forced, with certain rules and instructions and forced, and there is no freedom, and there's all this influence and force and manipulation and all this brainwashing techniques and screens and videos and TV and radio, which is creating all these groups and all these themes that everybody is following on. Everybody's being a part of this group, a part of that group, and part of this group. Based on this society that we're in, that doesn't allow this individual to be an individual, to do what it thinks and what it decides, what it wants to do, because it's restricted, and there is no way. So there is no freedom. But we are created with the freedom of choice, freedom of mind, and freedom to do what we want. But in this place, there is no freedom. So again, it's like this world that is created, and when it has all these different individuals that are not free to make their own way, make their own decisions, and they have to go through processes and all these created and forced and instructions. Or this program that's created, and the users are not free to try and achieve what they want to achieve in this program. They have to follow the tools and the options that's provided to use this program. So if they're stuck, they're going to need the manuals. They're going to need the help and assistance in order to get to the result that they acquire. The same with the world. They're not free in this world, but they're created as an individual with freedom of choice and meant to be free in the world, but they're not free. So they require the manual, the instructions, and assistance. So this world is created, and it requires the manuals, the religious scriptures, and it's always had representatives created by the Creator in order to guide the people that require assistance. And God has always said that there will be representatives in each era. When the world is being destroyed, there's been representatives. And if you create a program, then you have instructions, and if the users don't understand the instruction, then you have to represent and assist in order for them to have a workforce that can help them to understand this program, this game. Now when we realize we are individuals, we're meant to be free, And we don't have this freedom. We have to go through all of these processes and all these things in order to achieve what we're trying to achieve. And you realize that we have to focus on the manuals and get assistance from the Creator. In order to get the results that we need and acquire. And that meaning of why you are created, why you are here, and have a purpose, have a reason, have a meaning, you'd require that help from God, from the Creator, from the Source. Or else there will be no meaning, no reason for what's going on, no freedom, leading to different disasters, changing individuals and creating sins and mistakes that become more and goes down, becoming an animal and then worse than animal, and turning into creatures, no longer caring or understanding, and then losing your focus. Creating problems and will not be assisted or helped. So we have to think of what we are, these individuals, or be caught up with groups that are manipulating the individuals into what their theme and their way is. And other people telling people, what's your way? That's your way, that's the way you should be, that's the way you should be focused on. But we are individuals. We're not the same. We all have our own needs, our own way, our own freedom, our own decisions. We die alone. We are judged alone for our actions. So it all goes back to that creation. And get assistance and instruction, and get that energy, that vibration that comes into your mind and creates this image, and for you to understand and gain understanding of all of this, and to focus, to achieve and get results and a purpose and meaning to everything. And to understand, it's going to go back to that source, that energy, that force that keeps the universe the way it is, that's created this universe to be the way it is, and for those individuals to be in that world and to receive that energy, to be able to create those ideas, those invisible energy sources that goes into your mind and makes decisions and creates ideas and understanding of everything, because that's the human being. To be free, choices, decisions, and to understand and have a meaning and a reason